Is it 5 o'clock?
5 o'clock.
All right, I've got 5 p.m. We'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. If you will, please join me in the invocation and the pledge. Gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We just ask you to be present with us tonight. Just give us the wisdom to make the decisions that's the best interest of our community. We ask all things in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you all for joining us tonight. We're glad you're here. You have several opportunities that you can participate with us. On each individual item, you can speak. If you will, please fill out a speaker card. And also, we have a citizens to be heard at the beginning, and one at the end. You can speak on either or of those, plus each individual item. Wish to approve the agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to pull item number 17 from the agenda this evening, please.
17 off of the agenda. Any other changes to the agenda?
You got change?
No, I don't have any more change.
I'll amend my motion.
Okay. Motion and second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Passes 5-0. Citizens to be heard. None for the first one. Awards and presentation. We'll have a library advisory board update. Cecile DeGroff, welcome.
I am speaking to you today as chair of your library advisory board. I would like to mention that we have some of our board members here tonight, as well as some of the library staff. The Library Advisory Board would like to commend the library staff for their efforts during this past year while all of us have had to deal with the COVID-19 pandemic. While the library was closed for the first several weeks at the beginning of the pandemic, staff was able to reopen for curbside-only services while other larger area libraries remained closed. The library then added opening by appointment before reopening at normal capacity. During this period, library staff was able to circulate nearly 14,000 ebooks, 30,000 physical items, add more than 500 new patrons, serve over 700 curbside appointments, answer more than 7,000 phone calls, and serve over 13,000 in-person patrons. These numbers are remarkable considering the compounded effects of COVID on the public services and demonstrate the value of and community need for library services. With the level of service that the library provides for the citizens of Wakulla County, it is imperative that the library is adequately funded. There are many needs that cannot be met with the current level of funding. The library desperately needs 12 new computers for general public access and 14 for the computer lab where free technology classes are conducted. I was a library volunteer for a number of years and was surprised by the large number of our citizens whose only access to a computer is through the library. The library is one of the county's most publicly accessed facilities, but the facility itself looks fairly run down. It needs fresh paint and updated flooring. At a minimum, repainting of the interior walls and new flooring is requested for the main library area, excluding meeting rooms, the children's room, and the computer lab. The flooring needs include carpet and either tile or finished concrete in high traffic areas. With building a new facility delayed, investments in the current facility need to be made. Currently, janitorial support is inadequate. County maintenance is only able to come once a week for an hour or two. They clean the restrooms and collect some of the trash. We appreciate their assistance, but the library building is a 15,300 square foot facility. The floors need vacuuming, sweeping, and mopping once a week, more in high traffic areas. Dusting of all furniture, including the book stacks, needs to be done weekly. The restrooms need to be checked daily for cleanliness, paper products refilled, and the trash collected. The two kitchens need light cleaning once a week. Permanent furniture and meeting rooms need to be dusted and are cleaned daily if they're used. And the carpets and floors vacuumed or cleaned as needed. Windows and glass doors need cleaning once or twice a week, again, especially in high traffic areas. All trash needs to be collected and taken out on a daily basis. Porches and sidewalks need to be blown off daily to prevent the tracking in of dirt and debris. This is more than the library staff can accommodate. Please keep in mind when making decisions about funding for the library that the state aid for libraries grant that the library receives is a reimbursement grant based on what the county invests in the library annually. Since spending from the county's general fund for the library was reduced in the 2019-2020 fiscal year by approximately $100,000, future state aid payouts for the 2021 and 2022 fiscal year will be reduced, which will in turn reduce the operating funds for the library. This year's state aid grant was already $30,000 less than the 2019-2020 amount due to state budget cuts. The county's general fund at present pays only for staffing expenses at the library. Everything involving operation of the library, from buying books to paying the utility bills, are dependent upon that state aid. Just a few years ago, electric, water, sewage, and telephone bills for the library were still funded from the county's general fund. Those costs added up to approximately $23,000 a year. In conclusion, we, the advisory board, would like you to consider the following in your budgetary deliberations. First, purchasing replacement computers for general public access and for the computer lab on a 4-year replacement schedule. Second, repainting of interior walls and new flooring for the main area of the library. Third, increased janitorial support. And last, covering utility expenses from the county's general fund that was previously provided. These are critical needs that need to be met in order to enable the library to continue to effectively serve the citizens of our county. Thank you for the opportunity to commend the accomplishments of the library staff during difficult COVID time. They have truly gone above and beyond in providing library services to our county's citizens. We also thank you for allowing us to bring attention to some pressing library needs for your consideration in your budgetary deliberations. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, that ends our awards and presentation. Motion to approve consent. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Passes 5-0. No consent items pulled. General business, we're skipping 17. We'll go to item number 11.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, this agenda item requests board approval of a consultant services agreement with Langton Associates to provide grant administration for the retrofit of Otter Creek Wastewater Treatment Plant number 2 and retrofit of Lift Station 76. This is just a continuation.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any citizens? Discussion from the board?
I'm not in favor of the projects here because they're BP money being spent on things that we should be paying for out of our funding stream from the access fees. But, since we've already made these decisions, I have to go ahead and say we need to have the people that manage it. So.
Thank you, sir. Anything further? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. All opposed? Passes 5-0. Next, we'll go to our public hearing. We have none. Planning and zoning, item number 12.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Item number 12 is, let me pull it up, a application for a change of zoning, R2107. This is for approval of a change of zoning from RR1 to C2 on a 2.45-acre piece of property. The subject property is located at the southwest corner of the intersection of Shadeville Road and Spring Creek Highway. In accordance with Section 24.01 of the code, each commission member should disclose any ex parte communications they may have received regarding this application.
I had a call from a citizen today.
Were they in support or against it?
Hard to tell, but I'd say against if I had to guess.
Same here.
Just call from citizens?
Against it, I have had 2, I think, against it.
I've had 2 against in calls and 2 against in emails.
I've had 3 against this project.
If there's anyone here who is going to provide any information regarding this application, including staff, please stand up to be sworn. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I have 4 cards, so I'm missing one person. Lori Stork? Yep. There we go.
Please stand up to be sworn. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Yes, this request to rezone is from RR1 to C2 on a 2.45-acre tract located on the southwest corner of the intersection of Shadeville Road and Spring Creek Highway. The future land use designation for this property is Rural 2, and this site is located at the intersection of 2 major roadways. The current zoning, again, is for a single-family residential use, and the proposed zoning would allow for a variety of commercial uses. Currently, the site is undeveloped and located within the FEMA flood zone designation of X. The proposed rezoning is consistent with the Comprehensive Plan, Land Development Code, and generally consistent with the character of the area. The advertisement for tonight's public hearing appeared in the Wakulla News on June 3rd of this year, and staff is recommending option 1 for approval.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second, and we'll go through the speaker card. Mr. David Fairkey.
Good evening. Close.
Okay.
And if that's the worst I'm called, it's a good day.
Okay.
My name is David Theriak. I'm an attorney from Tallahassee, Theriak in Spain. I represent the applicant. I'd like to begin by thanking Summer and Susan for the assistance that they have provided to us throughout this process. You've got some really gems in your planning department. And I'd like to also thank the Planning Commission. They voted 5-1 in our favor, recommending approval of our application. And I'd like to point out that the request is for a rezoning, which is to a category of property, not to an end user. And under the law in Florida, it would be inappropriate for y'all to deny an end user because you didn't like Tom and Joe's barbecue shop. If you believe that the property is suitable for a commercial designation, as staff has recommended, then that would be the basis for your decision. Because this is a quasi-judicial decision, I have documents I'd like to introduce into the evidence. If I may, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir, please.
And this is just so in case we get your approval and somebody decides to challenge that decision, I need to create a record to protect your decision. So number one is just a copy of the agenda request that staff distributed. Number two is a copy of our change of zoning application. There's an Exhibit A from the property appraiser's website. There's an Exhibit C, which is the flood map. You'll see it's in a X zone. Exhibit 3 is the quitclaim deed to Lorenzo Mills, who is the owner of the subject property. 4 is a letter of authorization for Terramore Development LLC to represent Lorenzo Mills. And number 5 is a similar letter to authorize me to represent as their attorney. Number 6 is the resume. It says James, he goes by Brad, he's our project engineer. Number 7 is Luke Strickland from Terramore. Both of them are here today to answer any of your questions, if you have any. Number 8 is just my resume. And then in full disclosure, so you know what our client would like to do with this property, we've included 2 documents to give you an understanding of what we're trying to accomplish. So number 9 is a rendering of a Dollar General, and I'm happy to be able to represent tonight. It's a fresh market, which means that you're dealing with additional fresh produce. And that's a new prototype that Dollar General has recently created. And this site, if we're lucky enough to get your approval for the rezoning and then site plan approval, it would be the fresh market prototype. And number 10 is just a preliminary site plan. We haven't submitted for a site plan approval yet, but I wanted to give you just an overview of how the property would be laid out. And we request your approval tonight. I'm happy to answer any questions. Luke and Brad are over as well if you have any questions. And I would like the opportunity, if any questions come up by any of the neighbors or any speakers, that if I need to address something that they've raised, if you'd give me the opportunity to do so, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Next, Mr. Brad Beek. Beggy? Okay. I'm 0 for 2.
It's a tough one. No, I just wanted to introduce myself. I'm Brad Beggy. I'm with Urban Catalyst Consultants. We're representing Terramore Development. Any engineering and site-related questions, I'll be more than willing to,
This is a rezoning, though. We don't address site.
Right, understood. But I would also like to add that we've been in coordination with county staff to help address the problem intersection there, allow them to give a little right-of-way to
Get rid of the wonkiness,
Yes.
as I call it.
Get rid of the offset. So just wanted to bring that up, and like I said, if you guys have any questions, I'll be glad to answer.
Thank you, sir. Luke Strickland, I know that one. Hey, how are y'all doing? Thank you very much. Luke Strickland, I'm an employee of Terramore in a real estate capacity. So I would be one to maybe answer some more proprietary questions regarding Dollar General.
Rezoning, though. This is not a...
Right, just in case if citizens or somebody like that, but yes, sir, I agree.
So, what's the difference between the fresh market model and the regular dollar?
So there will be fresh produce, meaning vegetables and fruits, and that sort of thing there, whereas the typical prototype would only have frozen and more preservatives, but it would have, blueberries, apples, bananas, stuff like that, in an effort to avoid food deserts.
All this very germane to a rezoning, but anyway.
I know, it's just, but, they're claiming it, so I want to know what the difference was.
Very good. Anything further? That's it? Thank you. Thank you, sir. Next, Miss Lori Stork.
First time for everything, I guess. Just wanted to voice my opinion that I'm against this change of rezoning for purposes, we don't need any more commercial enterprises along Shadeville Road there. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. That ends the citizens. Any discussion from the board?
I agree, I don't think we need this in the location, but it meets all our criteria for having a commercial at a major intersection. This is a major intersection, so I guess we have to approve it.
May I ask someone?
Sure, absolutely.
Someone, are all four corners there commercial?
Nope.
No, just the northeast corner is currently commercial, where the Max meets and traveling a little bit further east as well. That's correct. And on that northwest corner, there is a non-residential use, more so a community use, but it is residentially zoned. There's a church located there. Okay.
Okay, anything further? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. All opposed? Passes 5-0. Thank you very much. My pleasure. And next we'll go to item number 13.
This is an application for a change of zoning, R2109. They are seeking a change from R1 to C2 on a .8 acre portion of a parcel that overall contains about 1.8 acres. This is located on Mississippi Avenue in Panacea. If there are any ex parte communications regarding this application, please.
In the county emails, no.
None. None.
None.
None.
If there's anyone here who's going to provide any information on this application, please stand up to be sworn. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you.
Yes, this request is to rezone from R1 to C2 on a .8 acre portion of a 1.8 acre tract.
To approve. Second.
We have a motion and a second. One citizen, Mr. Rice, if you'd like to speak.
I'm just here to answer any questions you guys have for us. We're hopefully excited to be back in the county and open a new restaurant down there.
Brenda?
We're hoping that you do. Good speech, good speech. Oh, don't do that.
Any further discussion? No further discussion, hearing none, all in favor? Aye. All opposed? Passes 5-0. Congratulations. All right, we'll go to item number 14, planning and zoning.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is a request for transmittal of a comprehensive plan, map, and text amendment to change the future land use designation from agriculture to Rural 3. As part of the Rural 3 land use requirements, a special area plan is also being proposed, which is your text amendment for consideration this evening. This property is located on the north side of MLK, both north and east of the Wakulla Gardens subdivision, and just west of the Steeplechase subdivision.
To approve. We have a motion, do we have a second? Second. Motion and a second. We have one citizen, Mr. Billy Colbert.
I was available to answer any questions.
Thank you, sir.
Answer. I'd like to mention, Mr. Chairman, we need to figure a way to get rid of this special area. What's the text?
Special area plan.
It only applies to this one future land use district and only applies to 1 acre lots, right?
That's
And
correct.
that's ludicrous, so what's it for?
It is designed to create additional design standards and regulations such compared to like an overlay district for parcels that are designated with the Rural 3 future land use. And those design criteria are intended to further protect groundwater.
So you can do 10 units an acre, you don't need to do this special area plan.
Most
It only applies to 1 acre density.
most of the
Crazy.
techniques
Larger-
that
not
would
larger,
be
not small.
implemented for groundwater protection measures like restricting fertilizer applications, best management practices, central sewer connection. Most of those requirements are already iterated in our comprehensive plan and required when you're in the springs protection area anyways.
Best I can remember, back, the comp plan didn't have a density for 1 acre, right?
Correct.
It had either 5 or like a half, and some developer wanted to do 1 acre lots, so they had to come up with a special area plan, and at the time, the DCA was really a lot harder to deal with at the time, so they made them do this special area plan just to get 1 acre lots. We adopted it, we're stuck with it, we need to get rid of it. That's just future,
Just another comp plan amendment.
That would be, yeah, it would be a text amendment.
to make it just like every other future land use designation we have. You know, it should be a special plan you gotta do for 1 acre. Why don't you do it for half acre? Why don't you do it for 1/10 of an acre? Why just 1 acre?
for all of them.
Huh?
Or none of them.
All of them or none of them, so.
None, yeah, that's right. Right now, we're doing it to 1%, so we'll just give it at 1%. Anyway, my motion stand.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Or direction, I'm
yeah.
not clear.
Do we want to make that part of the motion, have her bring that back? Is that what you're saying?
I think that's a separate motion if you're going to bring one.
Can we just have a discussion and give her a general,
Yeah, let's
good enough?
add it at the end of the meeting.
I'll bring it up under discussion.
Sounds good.
I just want to bring it up while it's fresh in everybody's mind.
Any further discussion?
You know, to me, we're growing too fast. We've got too much, we don't know the impact of all the development we've already approved. I can't see our school system, that says it's gonna put us over capacity of the schools. I can't continue to support these until we get a handle on the development we've already approved. We've already approved over 1,000 houses in the last year, and so I just can't keep approving it and just willy-nilly keep going, so.
Comp plan, you don't, that's a perfectly good reason to deny it.
It is.
Very good. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Aye. Passes 4-1. All righty, that ends our planning and zoning. No scheduled commissioner agenda items. County attorney, item number 15.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This item is requesting board consideration of a resolution to support an opioid settlement plan that is being proposed by the Attorney General's office on behalf of the state of Florida. As you know, there are various class actions ongoing. In fact, Wakulla County is a member of a settlement class for the Ohio National one, but there's not been a settlement that has come to fruition to date in that particular action. You do not have your own lawsuit pending regarding this matter at all. This settlement is being proposed by the Attorney General. They are proposing, they're going out trying to get counties and cities to buy into the plan. It's somewhat fluid still at this point, but the parameters of it are the following. If approved, if they get enough buy-in, there would be a settlement that would then divide the monies into 3 pots. There would be a county pot that you would get directly, a regional pot that would be used within the regions for approved purposes, and then a state pot. Under the county pot, they're proposing 15%. On an annual basis, and this is for an 18-year period. That is clear in the backup. It's not necessarily clear in the item.
What?
15% of the total amount. And there's a spreadsheet I can give you the numbers that the county.
I saw it.
Okay. And then the regional pot would be on a sliding scale. Over the 18-year period, it would go from 40% would be going to the regional entity, which in this area is the Big Bend Consortium of Care, or Continuum of Care. And then that would slide down to 30% over this 18-year period. The rest of the money would be covering state costs and administrative costs and things like that that would be handled at the state level. All of the monies, regardless of which pot it's going into, would be restricted for use for approved expenditures, which is basically substance abuse, prevention programs, support programs, and things like that to decrease the impacts of the opioid epidemic.
Approved. Second. Motion and a second. Do we have any citizens?
Just so everybody understands, we're just telling the state, that sounds good to us. We're
That is all-
not doing anything.
Yeah, and you are giving the chairman the authority to enter into the agreement in the event it's substantially in the form that's included here, and if it deviates, we'll have to bring it back. But yeah, you're just giving them a head nod right now.
Yep. Sounds good. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Aye. Opposed? Passes 5-0. Any attorney, anything additional?
Nothing.
Administrator?
Yes, got a couple of things. Number one is, don't forget, we have our infrastructure meeting on Thursday, this coming up Thursday at 6 p.m. at the Livestock Pavilion. I'll be there. If y'all can be there, that'd be greatly appreciated. Invite the public, please come. This is part of our outreach to the public to talk about infrastructure, and what you see is the needed infrastructure, and then what will come out of this is the adopted infrastructure plan that'll come back before you, the board, for approval, and then that will give us the ability at that point in time to go and chase grants and other opportunities, funding opportunities that comes up for this fund, for those particular projects. Secondly, airport update. Heather and I will be meeting with FDOT right after the 4th of July, I believe it's on the 7th. We'll be meeting with FDOT Central Office and getting some direction as we discussed in the workshop. And that's our first step.
Ordinance?
That's right, that's our first step in this process. So we're taking our time with that. Secondly, I'd like to address a couple of things on the library. Thank y'all for bringing that stuff up. We've reviewed for computers. We do have a quote. We did get a quote in for the computer to replace all the computers at the library. I rejected it because it wasn't competitive, as well as there were some issues with it was kind of hastily put together. So that is in the works to come back before you guys to replace the computers. It's taken a little bit of time because there was a couple of holes in it that should have been patched up.
State contract?
Yeah, the biggest thing is that the long-term maintenance was the problem. And the program that they're talking about, it will be a program that would replace the computers every 4 years and also all that. So that is in the works, and that will be happening. Pending board approval. We've also pulled over one of our folks, guys that works at the Extension Center. He's helping out with some maintenance, and we'll see about getting some more maintenance help in there. Janitorial services are a problem throughout our county, and we're constantly looking for people to help fill that, and those are things that we're working on. We are woefully shy there when it comes to that. As far as the other than that, just to let y'all know, the request to the board, there will be a 20% increase to the library budget that we'll be requesting for the Board of County Commissioners is coming up in this budget process as well. And we'll have to take a look at the utility expense and see.
Things get good.
So,
And I agree with the painting and it went in there and it does look rough.
and it does, and it's, you're right, we have to reinvest in it, yeah.
Yep, so, and it's the most used building besides this one in the county.
Yes,
And so,
more use.
More than this one.
Yeah, shouldn't have this many people in before lunch on a Tuesday.
the other question I have a question about the $100,000 they lost during COVID. Didn't the replacement money that we got for the CARES Act replace that money?
That was not collected in the submission for the CARES funding, and so that was previous staff. I don't know what happened, but that window is now closed. But as the county administrator said, already in the budget, we have projected a significant increase for the funding for the library.
Because we need to get the funding back up so we get because we've already lost the state aid grant.
That's not entirely accurate. The majority of the grant that we get is an equalization grant, and there are a lot more factors other than just what we spend specifically here. It's looking at a broader picture, and so plus we're getting 25 cents on the dollar, I think, and so we would have to spend probably $800,000-$900,000 a year at the library until we get bumped up to that next threshold. So there's a lot of factors. It's not a one-to-one thing with those grants.
Well, I recognize that, but we still our lack of contribution caused a decline. So.
Well, I would assume that other counties might have taken the same or similar financial maneuvers when the COVID and revenues got affected that we have, but again, we can't control what they spend like they can. So it's trying to project if it's going to rain tomorrow in Florida, basically. You can't really nail it down.
Well, they did say they were restoring the funding.
We are.
So we heard $100,000 budget cut in the current budget year. Is that all county share, or do you have any idea, was that loss of state funding as well?
No, what happened is when we were concerned that we were going to lose revenue in our revenue sharing, and we were looking for things to pull back on, that was one of the things that we pulled back on. We flipped those expenses that would normally have been paid from the general fund over to the state aid fund. And so we charged them there so we could save our general fund dollars to make sure that we were going to be okay. So it was just one of the things like putting off purchasing the phone system, several different things that we did during the COVID time to make sure our general fund was going to be safe.
Greg would call it voodoo math.
No, there's no voodoo math.
That was a strategic move.
This
So it
was,
wasn't that the budget was $100,000 smaller than the prior year, it's just, it was $100,000 lower than what we approved and anticipated.
Correct.
Until we hit COVID,
we spent less than we budgeted because we were trying to save that money purposefully.
which we pulled back in a lot of categories.
Back to a lot of categories, yes.
And we're in good shape now.
And we're in good shape now.
And the 20% increase that we're talking about, is that going to help cover for the computers and for like the... We'll pay for the computers, hopefully, out of this year's budget. Okay.
That'll be 1 cent sales tax.
Part of it. There's a couple different pots we'll dive in there. But the ongoing, there'll be an ongoing, what we'll have to, will increase as well as there will be, if we go with the purchase that we're wanting to, there will be a yearly cost to the system, a maintenance cost that'll include the computers.
And we're going to schedule an annual, regular replacement on these computers?
That will be part of it, yes. That's the way it was presented, but there were, like I said, there were some holes in it that didn't make a lot of sense.
Over here.
Huh?
Go ahead, Brandy, what you have?
Actually, you cannot purchase computers with 1 cent sales tax, so we would fund them from the general fund.
Okay.
Stand correct.
It has to be a capital item, at least $5,000 or more.
She's saying that because Greg's here. Okay.
Saying that because that's the sign.
Well, Greg should have corrected you. They'll listen to me one day. But anyway, that is all I've got, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir. Citizens be heard? None for the second one? All right, discussion items. Randy, you've got one to bring up? We'll start off with you.
Get board direction to give Summers to bring us back in comp plan amendment to get rid of the special area plan for rural 3?
Rule 3, yes.
Just make it consistent with all the other future land use categories. I don't think we need a vote.
Only rural 3 and only 1 acre. That is kind of odd. I agree.
Chuck, you can be like this, as long as we got 4 people nodding up and down.
Hey, you have to have 5 on this. All right.
That's all I got then.
Judge Neep?
Been here since 1
Wait,
o'clock.
David, can you hear this? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we do not have a motion on that. Anything further? Commissioner Kemp? Nothing for me tonight?
Nope.
I'm glad to see we're getting some more funding to the library. I think it's vitally necessary, and hoping to see it.
Well, I do want one more thing, Chuck. When you talk to your Forest Service friend, 309's getting rough again, so. And we need to figure out how we get that bridge fixed on Government Road, too.
Well, that's a big...
The funding was moved to Liberty
Well,
County.
remember I told you
Operational
the
bridge.
CRTPA, did you tell them about CRTPA has that, some of the grant, like the one at Law Mill Road, right, David, got replaced with that same grant, because it was in the forest, and they paid to replace the bridge, brand new bridge, right here on Law Mill. So the funding could be used on Government Road.
They used that funding, and they had a bridge in Liberty County that was operational, so they moved that money from here to Liberty County.
I think this is a different grant program, though.
This is with the walking of the forest and all that, the recreational grant?
Nope, this is for replacing bridges in National Forest roads.
Recreational grant.
And that's what paid for the one on Law Mill.
Bridge or a culvert? It's a bridge. It's complete. You gotta go all the way around through.
And people used to use it all the time, because you come Spring Hill Road, you can go straight on that road and come out right here down the road on Hill Road.
And the one that the funding that was there to do it, they moved it to Liberty County on a bridge that was operational. This, they have shut down completely. And the only way to get through there is come out, hit Sutley Road, go all the way around 267, or come back around 13, go down 69, and come back around 369.
We need to have
Better way to get around it.
drive it on his way home. I noticed Railroad Avenue is one of the nicest roads in McCullough County. You can get from Sopchocky to Crawfordville 50 miles an hour the whole way on that road. That's one of our county-maintained roads, though. That's why I wanted to get government road county-maintained at some point in the future when we get that bridge fixed.
And this is the third year, right? This is 3 years. It's been shut down too.
It's been a long time.
Yeah, at least.
So, let's adjourn.
Stand adjourned. Thank you all for coming out tonight.
Chuck, I'll see if I can find a record that grant.
Randy, prisoner for 3 hours.
Keep prisoner for what?
3 hours.